Of course, yes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a very good morning there. It's a good Saturday, and of course, happy Sabbath to those people who worship on Saturday. Welcome to Afrique. This is our normal newspaper review, and as we do newspaper, we try to update you on some of the stories that are making headlines on our newspapers, as we also try to weigh on these stories. So, if you are joining me for the first time, ensure that you start by subscribing to our channel, that is a Freak 24 TV on YouTube, and you can also join me in this conversation through the comment section. Ensure that when you join me, use the comment section so that you can let me know where you're joining from, and maybe your concerns and your questions can also be raised through the comment section. Of course, we are live in our YouTube channel, we are live in X and Facebook pages. So if you also want to join the studio and be part of this conversation, kindly you can do so through the comment section there. I've placed a link there. Use the link, and the link will bring you direct to StreamYard. It's been a busy week. A week that started being busy on Tuesday, a week that started with a massive protest from the younger generation, the Generation Z, who are really protesting against the Finance Bill 2024, a bill that I feel is going to overtax and overburden Kenyans. So these are generation that have realized that their lives have been maybe are going to be made harder with this bill, and that is why they so reject this bill. So, let us look at what is happening in this newspaper. Of course, I think I have the standard. I'll try to get into it and get what is there. That is the first page. I'll try to let me see if I can project it so that you can be able to see it well. And that is the first page. Of course, yeah, it's now clear. So on the first page, this is a story that you're having. I'll just try to read it. Families double pain after son dies in demos. I think you did see this story. There is the tax protest that has been going on, a protest that is being led by the youths. Most of you will call them Generation Z, and those are youths who are below 30 years old. So in this protest that they are leading, the government or maybe the police seem to have been using some excessive force, and in the process, one Rex Kanyike Masai, a 29-year-old, was shot in tax process in the capital city on Thursday. He bled to death. Of course, yesterday, the police did write a report that they are doing some investigations to ascertain the cause of his death. So you can be able to see that one. Yesterday's distant family narrated the anguish at his killing as government agencies plead to get to the bottom of his killing. Yeah, so you can be able to see the man in the picture on the other end. You can be able to see the parent. So the boy was killed just during the demonstrations that he was attending. So apart from that, on the other side, a story that we're also going to interact with Deputy President Gachagua Kalonzo. What's cooking? Yeah, so there's something that is cooking between the Deputy President, that is Rigathi Gachagua and Kalonzo. Yesterday they shared same podium. There was, I think, an inauguration of a certain pastor. And after that, Kalonzo tweeted and said that it was the first time I'm sitting next to Gachagua, and he did warn those people who are planning to, he called them honorable members of parliament who are planning to bring an impeachment against Gachagua. He did warn them and told them that if you're planning to bring an impeachment against Gachagua, be warned that Team Azimio are going to stand with Gachagua, and instead, Azimio is going to bring an impeachment motion against William Ruto and Gachagua. So people are really wondering what is cooking, yeah? What is cooking? There was a rare sense of unity between the GP Kalonzo Musyoka with the Wiper chief defending Gachagua over attacks and critics by the deputy president, saying it will be soon at the deputy president that you see the deputy president you need to team up with Kalonzo. He talked of something called Dema, that you need to reach out to Kalonzo so that they can be able to consolidate at the game votes. We're going to look at that story. You know, politics never stop disappointing. Page 3 of the Standard is just gives from the blog what is trending. Kenyans mourn the death of activists. Of course, that is what is trending, and they've given an itinerary that they are going to have some rage against the government in response to the death of activist of Rex Kanyike Masai was shot dead during peaceful protest against the finance bill 2024 in Nairobi, the bill that proposes to increase taxes on essential goods and services. So another thing that is trending is celebrities critical of a stand. The KRG, the Dan and Kosi Pollface first a black flash for supporting the finance bill 2024. So their comments have led to anger and calls to be carried them on social media. Another thing, Gen Z rises in protest against the bill. So the Gen Z has surprised many after protesting proposed tax measures. They are frustrated with what they see as unfair policies exacerbating the cost of living. Another thing trending is the Kate actress faces wealth in backlash, and also Travel Scott got arrested in Miami. So you can be able to get your newspaper and read those ones on page 2 of the Standard. Let us look at page 2 of the Standard. Blow to Nairobi Hospital as court squashes suspension of 10 doctors. Remember, and that one is a blow to them. And any other person who maybe think they can just be suspending or sacking people who the due process. So that is there in page 3. I'm just giving you the highlight, but I know after this you're going to get your newspaper, and once you get your newspaper, you'll be able to weigh on it. I can see I'm also joined by Santaz Mugare. Santaz, good morning. Can you hear me? Maybe you can move closer to hear you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you, sir.
I think there's some. Good morning.
Morning to you, sir.
I'm also fine, thank you. Just trying to review what is in the newspapers. So on the first page, we are seeing Kenyans are mourning the death of the activist, yeah, the 29-year-old Kenyan youth who was killed during the peaceful demonstrations. I know maybe you might have participated in a demonstration before, or maybe you might have been involved either directly or for somebody to lose life in this kind of demonstrations. Are we all responsible for the safety of demonstrators?
Pardon, sir. I've not heard
Yeah.
you. I've not heard you.
I'm saying in the first page. Yeah.
Yes.
In the first page of Standard, there's a story of a young youth, 29-year-old, who lost his life in the demonstrations. There is a 29-year-old who
Yes.
lost his life in the demonstration. So do we have to blame him, or we blame the government for failing to maybe adhere with the rules and provide the needed security during this kind of demos?
Okay, thank you, sir. First of all, I want to say that let the body of Rex Kanyika rest in peace, because I was privileged to be with him in college. In fact, he is a comrade. We were with him at the Kenya Institute of Highway and Building Technology, where the young man
Okay.
was doing building construction, a diploma in building construction. First of all, I want to tell the people that protesting is a right under the Constitution of Kenya, and everybody has a right to demonstrate wherever and picket wherever he feels that he is being overwhelmed. I think in this scenario, the police force used a lot of excessive force toward the protesters, because we had seen a lot of scenes whereby the police are shooting canisters, tear gas canisters to peaceful demonstrators, which in this scenario makes it not a good picture, actually, because we see the Kenyan police for some time now. Even the protestation of Gen Z uh, was they were doing their democratic right, but when you see a police shooting a live bullet to a young man, it's uncalled for, and we call the agencies involved to do a thorough investigation on what transpired, so that we can give justice to our dear comrade Rex Kanyika, who was shot dead on the last demos.
True, I get you well. So do you think that the Gen Z, they have what it takes maybe to hold the government accountable? Because it is the first time that Kenyans are getting shocked that you're seeing the youths are the ones who are crowding these streets. Initially, we normally see youth being used. Actually, we normally see youths who are hired. They are used by maybe politicians and people who are aged, and they are given instructions. But for this time round, nobody called them to get out. Nobody is instructing them. Like nobody is loading them into lorries and maybe directing them on what to do. They are doing it on their own. So don't you see there is some change, or youths have decided it is now their time to take over leadership in this country?
It's actually a funny event, if you can call it. But if you see youth coming out without politicians, then you should know that that's a real revolution. Because this generation Z have nothing to lose at all. They don't have most of the majority don't have jobs.
Okay.
Most of these majority are finishing colleges, and they are entering the job market, and the
Okay.
expectations are being shut by the government. Number one, if you look at the government chief of staff Felix Kosgei said that the government has freezed jobs for the next 1 year. Where are these graduates who are graduating from colleges and universities? Where are they going to? Number two, when you see the
Yeah.
youths stand up for themselves, then you should know that the nation is ready for revolution. Because these youths, as you can actually see, they are not mobilized by anybody. It's
Yeah.
because they have felt the pinch of the government taxation, and they have now started that they can stand for themselves. Because look, there was a finance bill in the last financial year, but the government is not even ready to table what it has done. What it has done, it brought the collection of revenue KRA. It gave it the mandate to collect a certain amount of target, a certain amount of money for the last financial year. But when you look at the records, the KRA did not achieve the what they wanted to do. What shows you that this government can use this financial bill, can achieve whatever they have put in the financial bill. That shows you that the recklessness of the government is what has led to this revolution. And in fact, the youth have decided for themselves that it's not going to be business as usual. We must stand accountable because they don't have they have nothing to lose at all. They have to fight for their country. We are expecting, as we come out of the colleges or universities, we need jobs, and then you hear that the government has freezed all the jobs for the next financial year. What does that mean for these young people? Who is their hope? They are hopeless. And this is what is triggering this revolution in Kenya. And in fact, if the government of Kenya takes this thing lightly, it's they want
Yeah.
to blame. They'll blame themselves later.
Okay, it's good. I think you've noted, you did note that, after the Finance Act 2023, the government or through the Kenya Revenue Authority did not manage to collect, to meet the revenue target that they have. Like they did collect the much that they anticipated to collect. And somebody will ask,
Yes.
when you talk of the generation Z, most of them are still students. Some of them are getting out of school, maybe are getting out of college, meaning
Yes.
most of them still depend on their parents. So what do you think might have triggered them? Because when you talk of these taxations and everything, they still depend on their parents. They don't. Some of them don't pay their bills. Maybe some are getting introduced to paying the bills for the first time. So what do you think would have triggered them? You did listen to how some members of parliament talked. They say that if you get some of these youths there and ask them what is wrong with the finance bill, they'll not be able to tell you. In other words, he was trying to insinuate that these people depend on their parents. So why would they go on the street? Why would they maybe take some painkillers for the pain that belongs to their parents?
Number one, most of these Gen Zs, if you see the latest social media technologies like the TikTok, the YouTube, the Twitter,
Yeah.
this content, most of the content creators are Gen Zs, which are maybe make their source of income through the digital platforms. When the
Mhm.
government proposes that it's going to tax the digital content creators, it's a pinch to these youth. Number one, something like sending and transferring of money, taxation through sending and transferring of money through mobile phones, and modern money transferring technologies. It will cut costs, and this is where the youth feel the pinch. And
Okay.
when you look at the proposal of about this bill, there are
Yeah.
so many taxes in some basic commodities like diapers. Most of these young ladies coming out, their parents maybe by will or by not willing to. When you add a tax to these basic commodities, you are affecting these young people directly. I think this this alone makes them feel that they have been attacked by this government. The government is responsible for their lives.
I get you. I get you. That is really true. You've also said
Yeah.
that. Do you think that because the youths are so conversant with the technology, this one has made it possible for them to mobilize and organize for this kind of a protest successfully? Because you'll find that before the protest started, most of it was organized in social media, Kenyans on Twitter, and some people dismissed it, saying that these are just social media talk. People are just looking for content and such kind of things, only for them to see people on the street. So, do you think that social media is maybe helping or aiding in this protest? Because we've not seen people moving around with loudspeakers saying that, okay, we are going to have protests and such kind of things, but things are just organized in social media. Somebody gets arrested, there are some contacts being shared that, okay, when you get arrested, share share the police station, you'll get released and such kind of things. People are calling their members of parliament. Yeah? So do you think that this is something that is also fueling and enabling the youth, since they know how to navigate through the social media? So it's giving them an advantage in maybe conducting this protest.
Yes, and because the technology has really fueled this because the social media platforms has made us one family. a small village.
Okay.
We can all
Okay.
share and plan whatever we want to in a second. This
Okay.
has made it easier for these young people to converge and come up with ideas that will make this their demonstration successful. The second thing is
Okay.
the social media has done. It has given these young people the security because as you saw the death and shooting of Rex Kanyika, it's through social media. Even these police officers has been brought to book. You know, this when one of these our protesters is being arrested, it's through social media that we know who has arrested him, where he has been taken, and what he has been charged of. You know, so this social media has made us it has made it easy uh, for for communication purposes and for security purposes. That's why I'm telling you, in this new technological era, we have so many channels of transparency, which makes it even harder for the government to use excessive force to these protesters, which it can actually do. Uh,
Okay.
and I think this has made this protest a success.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me welcome Alal Moses. Mose, good morning. Maurice, sorry. I hope you're doing well. Maurice, how are you? Just unmute yourself and move maybe closer to your microphone so that we can be able to hear you. It seems Maurice is still connecting. Ensure that your device is connected so that when you start speaking, you don't get interrupted. So I think, Mongara, you're really making some great sense on what is taking place. I know there are people who are really wondering. Some people are saying that, okay, the youths are having this thing happen. Maybe based on precedents, you've seen what is happening in Africa, some parts of Western Africa. Of course, we are having younger people taking over and such kind of things. Don't you think this is the kind of motivation that is motivating youth to try and challenge the government, something that has never happened before? And do you think they'll be able to sustain it? Because people normally believe to sustain such kind of things, to oppose the government, you need money and some maybe finances, something that youths don't have. So do you think the youth will be able to sustain this kind of demonstrations?
Uh, on this, I can actually say you only need many money when you want to do a political move, but you only need a phone when you want to start a revolution in this new technological era. I think at this era, the youth have been touched and money doesn't really matter. And
Yeah.
what
I lose your connection. Did I lose your connection? Are you still connected? Are you still connected? Maurice, are you able to hear me now? Maurice, are you able to hear me now? Okay. I think I might have lost your connection, but we'll proceed with that. All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you are watching a free 24-hour TV. This is our morning newspaper review. So, in the newspaper review, we try to connect you with the stories that are making headlines on our newspapers. And apart from that, we also weigh on these stories. And of course, what is making headline is the Generation Z revolution, with the top story on the Standard portraying the photo of a Kenyan youth, General Z, 29-year-old Masai, who was killed or who lost his life during the peaceful demonstrations against the Finance Bill 2024. Of course, in studio, I've had Mongare. Mongare is a youth, a General Z, who really told us why he feels that his generation is the right generation that is going to maybe liberate this country. He feels that the youths have got what it takes to liberate the country. He mentioned the use of social media and the resilience and some of the things that makes them feel that, okay, this finance bill is going maybe to do harm to them. You said, as far as people might say that youth don't pay bills and such kind of things, of course, youth do receive money or funds from their parents, and whenever these funds are received through the money or this kind of mobile banking, those kind of taxation is going to affect the youth directly, the ones who receive money from their parents. So karibuni sana, namuona Alal Morris, I hope you are now able to speak. Hata namuona kijana ya town pia amewasili. Sasa hapa tuko vijana wengi, tuna wale vijana wanaitwa millennial na kuna wale vijana wanaitwa generation Z. So Morris, sijui kama unaweza kuzungumza ama ni anze na kijana ya town.
I can speak.
All right, proceed please. Karibu sana Afrika.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. I hope you're fine too.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
With me, what I can say is that this generation has come out to fight for their rights. Okay. Because we believe without us, nobody can fight for us. So what I can encourage youths that let us not step back, but we stay focused and we demand for our right. No revolution with youths because all are now old.
Okay.
They cannot do anything because at least now they are seeing that after wazungu kurudi kwao, they believe that mentality that wazungu are using is whatever is still being used. But now revolution has come from the Gen Z. That it is we who should fight for our right. Because we are seeing that our young guy is being killed because he was demo for his right.
Okay, yeah.
Which police will just the work for police is just to protect the protester, not to kill the protester. But we are seeing our generation is being killed because we are fighting for our right, which is not wrong. So what I encourage the youth that let us be together, and hii mambo na tribal, we are all Kenyans. Nobody is born, nobody has blood for Kikuyu, Luo. Now we are all Kenyans. What we need to fight for is for our right, because when we get the revolution, it will not be called for Luos, for Kikuyu, it will be called for Kenya.
Get you.
So I'm here at the show and we'll still continue talking. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Boris. Of course, Karibu Africa, and it is nice, and I'm happy that I'm listening to the generation that is responsible for the liberation that Kenyans are experiencing now. And it's really good to get direct from you, because you had some members of parliament claiming that, you see, these people are just on the street to get some content, to create some content, yet they don't even understand what is there. But listening to you guys, I get to know that there's a lot that concerns the youths, and specifically the Generation Z, that has made them to have some rage against the government. And of course, you people have promised that this thing is not going to stop. It's a lot to continue, and the fight is on until the right of Kenyans is achieved. So let me get to hear from Kijana ya Town. Kijana ya Town, karibu. First of all, maybe you tell us, are you a millennial or you also a Generation Z?
Mimi I'm not a Generation Z Sisi ni wale tulikuwa tunafunza mzee Jomo Kenyatta kukunywa pombe. So you can imagine. Na tuko hapa. Mzee Jomo Kenyatta mimi ndio nilimuonesha black and white na black label. Anyway, that's a joke, but I'm not a Generation Z, but we are proud of Generation Z. As a people of Kenya, we never thought at one time tutakuwa na maandamano ambayo haingoi reli. In fact, what we are saying this time, ni a very progressive group. Wameleta maandamano ya majuu ambayo to me it's going to change the way we do things in this country. There's what we call soft power. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming. And that is very good to the people of Kenya, because how do you, first of all, police are disillusioned. Hawajui kama sasa hii itakuja Tuesday ambao sisi tumesema kama millennia tukuwe invited, tumeambia watu, can you invite us, because we want them to teach us their ways. But let me ask you, how will the police recognize who is in the demonstration and who is not? Because it's so civilized. Hakuna mtu ambaye ameshika mawe. I mean, it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and we are so proud of Generation Z. Come Tuesday, there is gonna be a total shutdown. Wamesema kwamba hiyo siku ndio kitaeleweka, and I'm so happy to be living in this time, at this age, to see what is happening in this country. Revolution is going to be televised. They are televising it with their phones. We are so happy. In fact, I can tell you from where I sit, I can't wait to see this government toppled. Tunataka a government, and I will say this without fear, because I think fear has gone. Fear has gone.
It seems that fear has gone. Some people are saying fear was swept by the floods that happened recently. When you see what is happening, people don't fear power.
They don't fear. At Garissa, people were showing placard to the president, because we have a president and a government and a deputy president who think we are in the Moi days. Siku ya kuita delegation, wae tafuta Wakikuyu wa Murang'a wakuje kwangu niwapee mchere, alafu waende wapeleke story. That story is coming to an end, because what we are seeing is a president and a deputy president who are being overtaken by events. And this is what I mean. The Constitution 2010, the drafters never envisaged, naongea kizungu kubwa leo, never envisaged that corrupt people, that liars, that hypocrites using the church are going to be the leaders to implement a constitution that has a chapter 6 that talks about character. Watu wako mbali sana na hii katiba. Sasa watu ambao wako katika timing ya katiba ni Generation Z. These people understand that picketing is in the constitution and it has to be peaceful. But the police, Ruto, his government don't understand it. So for now, let me go and then I'll talk.
Thank you so much, kijana ya town. Umesahau kutuambia mambo ya political party. Are you looking for Generation Z or join chama chako? You can tell them to come and join your party. You people have not been giving them an opportunity to lead. Could it be that they are now proving they can lead? SG. I know he's engaged somewhere. SG is having his political party. He'll tell us about that. So, Mungare, there's something that has really been happening. You see when youths get out, like yesterday, there was a concert at the Carnival, and when the CS Ababu Namwamba attended, people welcomed him with some songs of Ruto Must Go and such kind of things. Do you think that now the generation has declared war on all the government departments, or what is not happening? Are you able? I don't know if you did get me. Mogare, are you back there? Okay, Maurice. There's something that has happened. Of course, you people have talked of Kanyaike, the boy who was killed during the demonstrations, and the police did give a report that they are going to investigate the cause of death and maybe ensure that justice is done. So, do you believe that, or the police cannot be able to investigate themselves?
You know, this is government, and we're opposing government. So if you are opposing, you cannot give us the evidence. But I believe in Gen Z that we will know and will identify the person who shot that guy. And I hope there are some social medias now start coming out the name who could be, but we cannot mention him. But we are hoping that the truth will come, and we will know the person who shot the guy. So we are just asking the government to enact the law to the police, not that police to kill the protester and nothing is being done. If you can imagine the guy called Ian Joroge, when he beat the police, he was taken to court. So my question is there right for a police to beat a normal civilian and there is no law for them? It is only the law that if a civilian beat a police is being arrested because he has beaten a government, which is not right. We are all human beings. If a police beated a civilian, the law should take its take. Not that if a civilian beat a police, he has crossed over to the government. So what we can tell the government is that we are the government, because me next maybe I'll be in the government, but what the government should do to us is that they should respect us and they should work closely with us. They should ask, what are we doing? It is right or it is wrong? And if it is right, they should allow us to practice our exercise. I hope now you start seeing how the Gen Z are now acting. You see, even yesterday, Imani Chungwa, where he was, you see how the Gen Z was reacting. And yesterday, if you hear Deputy Gachagua, where he was in charge, he said that he is in the government, and him also he will not allow the government to do what? To pass the bill, which is right, because the bill is now going to interfere with all nations, not only Kikuyu, but it is going to interfere with us all. Remember, we Gen Z, very few of us come out from college last year, and now we are start hustling. So you see that the money you are getting, you are paying another tax. You see now we are paying for the house levy, where I don't know it is being built. It is not important to me. What is important is that I need now to do other business, but I cannot start a business, because if I start a business, they will tax me more. Nothing I will get. So what I can say to the government, that let us respect us and let us hear our voice.
That let government respect youth and let government hear the voice of the youth. Maybe before I get to Mongare, let me just read some of the comments in standard page 4 from the Gen Z. Enoch Manyara is saying from Kisii, the government is pushing Gen Z to be thieves, die to the high cost of living. Parents are standing to pay for our bills, yet the government can't find jobs after we can't find jobs after studies. The government should drop punitive tax. That is from Kisii. Christine Kabuya Mombasa is saying that MPs never listened to the people who elected them. And it is now clear that the public participation that was going on was a waste of time, since the public views were never captured. The finance bill will hurt Kenyans. How do you tax pads which are not even affordable to a large number of people? The president should stop this blackmail. Winnie Mwende from Meru is saying that there are too many taxes on basic commodities that the people need every day, and it is impossible. Imposing taxes is burdening. There are many items that should actually not be taxed much, like sanitary pads that girls need to stay in school and food that sustains the poor Kenyans. Kevin Wanyama from Kisii saying that finance bill is punitive. Increase of fuel taxes will lead to increase in price of basic commodities, yet cost of living is already high. Grace Njeri from Yeri Town saying that finance bill is oppressive and against the will of the youth. Where is the government going to deduct the money? Yet there are no new jobs and business are collapsing. Vincent Mwenda Nairobi, I reject the bill because it is oppressive and it only favors the rich. I support the demonstrations against the bill. Lucia Kini, Kisii, it's sad It is sad the government plans to increase taxes on sanitary towels, yet most of the girls who are from poor backgrounds have not been affording them with the current prices. Nana, Marion, Kisumu, I hope the two of our MPs who voted for the bill will sit and think about what they did. It's clear that they voted against the will of the people, and I hope the president will hear his people's cry and do the right thing. Feli Salim, the high taxation being imposed is a wrong move and at the wrong time. I was ashamed that my MP Owen Bayer voted yes, yet his constituency is always in the news over early pregnancies. That's hard. James Juma, I've gone through some sections of the bill and it is not friendly to the common one inch. So those are some of the comments from some concerned Kenyans. Those are some of the comments, the ones I was reading in the Standard 24 from across the country, and those are youths who are speaking their mind. So, Mogare, if I may ask you, people have talked of something called public participation. People are talking of, sorry, Maurice, people are talking of public participation, and the government did confirm that public participation was done. Do you think that what was done is enough to be called public participation, or they just did something else? Maurice, have you ever participated in this public participation? And do you think that what was done in this bill was enough to be classified as public participation?
No, me, I've not
What do
seen
you
that.
think should be done? Because 50% they were not consulted, there were no participation, but the government will tell you there are minutes showing that public participation was done.
Me, I've not seen, I've not heard even anywhere that the government were doing that public participation. So with
Uh-huh.
me, I don't know. I'm just at a time. I'm just reading it from the newspapers or from social media. But in the real sense, I've not seen. I've not had participation.
Mhm. Because the government claims that they've done public participation. Somebody told me that what normally happens, you get some few people that you know, then they go, they sit there, they get some mineral water, they get some affair back home, then they sign there that public participation has taken place. Yet it really says people don't get to engage with this kind of discussions. So, Kijana ya town, are you back or you're still on the road? I see Kijana Town is still on the road. Let us look at the next page. What is there? You'll find that, okay, of course, this is a story that we've talked of. Police under fire over the brutality on Gen Z's peaceful and armed protest. So, gruesome killing of a protester in city has sparked widespread condemnation, and lawyers are saying incident only serves to escalate emotions and bitterness among the youth. So Kenya's Generation Z has captured everyone's imagination, rallying around the hashtags and mobilizing through street marches, armed only with the smartphones and bottles of water. These fearless young demonstrators have poured out their hearts, expressing both their frustrations and aspirations. Some wore flashy bandanas, hoisted placards, and sang songs of solidarity, occasionally flashing peace signs and taking harmless selfies. So many have come to liken their uprising to the iconic Occupy Wall Street movement of 2011 in the United States of America and the Arab Spring of early 2010s. I think this is so clear that the youths who are demonstrating, only arm themselves with smartphones and water. Nobody's carrying stones, nobody's carrying sticks. And why is the government using power, yet the media is covering everything? And I like the fact that even these demonstrators, they are able to record every move that they make. Even the police, when the police is arresting or doing, there was a lady I saw that was almost getting arrested, and because of the cameras and everything, the police had to get back and stop the arrest because Kenyans were watching and Kenyans were warning. So this kind of new technology, the new system of demonstration where people are just using smartphones, do you think is the right thing that we need? Because we are used to governments that are always oppressive, that you cannot just go there like politely and they listen to you. You saw how they used to handle those people from Azimio who are demonstrating. Okay. Sorry for that. Maurice, will
Yes.
we manage with just smartphones and water bottle? You know, the government normally wants to be provoked and such kind of things so that they see people. You see, people are serious.
You know,
Yeah.
first I can congratulate media because media is the people who are protecting Gen Z.
Okay.
Without media, this government could have killed us a lot.
Okay.
But unajua this generation,
Yeah.
we are not using weapons to do our protest.
Yeah.
That's why we are calling ourselves we are smart guys. If you see when we are in the road, we are just only having our phone and a bottle of water. This is an evidence that we don't attack the government, but we are doing our right by protesting, but not to fight the government. But these guys are now taking the advantage that
Again.
we are doing whatever the the opposition leader was doing, which was Right Honorable Amolo Odinga. And I think if you see last Thursday, there was a guy who was trying to steal funds from Matatu guys. I think you saw how the Gen Z dealt with him. So this is an evidence that with us we are not here to destroy other property because it is we who are doing the business. So we cannot what? We cannot destroy our business. But our main aim is to ensure that our right is heard by the government and nothing else. So what I can say is that let us continue with the spirit of carrying the water and the phone only. Let us not carry anything that can now see that now we want now attack the government. Because if we carry those things, it will now be we will experience some deaths, which police will sort our guys, but we don't lose this our generation because we are the power and we believe we will make it.
Yeah. Get you. Get you. I don't know. I'm looking. Oh, somebody is talking of Kenya should provide subsidy for electric vehicle. There is no reason to pursue renewable energy. You do increase tax revenue by increasing tax rate and exorbitant tax increase. So, okay, the government has proposed. Okay, if you listen to the side of the government, Morris and maybe SG, you listen to the side of government, they are saying that, okay, the reason why we are increasing these taxes is because we want the junior secondary teachers, school teachers to be employed. We want the medical interns to be employed. We want to create jobs for the youth and so on and so forth. So what do you take on that? Do you think the government is being maybe deceptive to tell you that, okay, we will increase the tax so that we give you jobs and such kind of things? What do you take on that? Because the government is saying, okay, we are not just increasing the tax to go and waste this money, but it is because of you youths who are unemployed. That is why we are increasing taxes so that we can get you something to do. What is your take on that? Did somebody get me? Confirm
Pardon?
if you can hear me. Okay. And then maybe, yeah, good. Did you hear me? Did you hear the question that I posed?
No, pardon.
Yeah. I was saying this, the government is promising that these taxes that they are raising is to create jobs for the youths. And they are really wondering, why are youths demonstrating yet they are creating for them jobs? Okay, we can get this a minute. Okay, I'll work on it. Guys, sorry for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, sorry for those hitches, but we are back. We are still live. We are not ending this live, of course. I just want to hear from the Generation Z. I just want to hear from the youth outside there, so you can be able to tell me like how do you feel, or what motivates you to get to the streets, or maybe if you've got an opportunity to go there, then what are some of the expectations that you're having whenever you go there. So let me proceed with maybe looking at what is in the newspaper here. I have the next page. In the next page, there you can be able to see that is page 6 of the Standard. This still discussing the 2024 budget. MPs take cover in Parliament after finance bill vote for fear of rioters. So this one is just trying to show you what happens when after the members of Parliament had voted. Some of them feared that they might not be able to make it back home, so they decided to take cover in Parliament. And I'm made to understand that there are some of the members of Parliament who did not get home. Instead, some of them, do I say they had an over a night vigil in Parliament? Some of them who did not go home simply because they did not know what was going to happen, and their members of Parliament were so disappointed, and some of them were waiting for them. They didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what was going to happen to them. That is why some of them decided not to go to home. So what is the story saying? Angry citizens camped outside Parliament demanding an audience with their representatives. As a lawmakers who voted for the bill had to wait for the protesters to disperse before leaving. So when the fear is gone, the clouds gather and the freedom is reclaimed. For the better part of this week, members of parliament have been confronted by the nightmare of public outrage and backlash from Kenyans determined to occupy parliament over the controversial finance bill 2024. So spurred on the disdain to the tax raising measures in the bill, Kenyans have since Tuesday mobilized, organized, and executed protests with the aim of getting their voice against the bill heard at the time the controversial document is being considered on the floor of the House. And you'll have to note that this document already passed to the second, that is a stage where they're going to have a second reading. So MPs, after passing it, you'll find that some of them feared and did not want to get out. So I can see Chris Burale. Habari ya asubuhi. Chris,
Mzuri sana, mzuri sana,
uko salama?
niko salama.
From which part of the world are you joining us?
I'm in Nairobi.
Thank you so much. You're joining us in Nairobi. Did you participate in the protest, or you just watch on the television?
I was there.
You are there. That's great.
I
Okay, so that is what is making stories. Of course, I'm glad that I'm listening to people who took part in one way or the other, and I'm listening to the youth who are reclaiming this position. So, what do you think is motivating the youth? Like, you saw the way youths on the streets, daytime and nighttime. Like, these are people who can protest to siku na mchana. So, what do you think is motivating youth that have never motivated them before to maybe go and protest against the government policies?
there are two things.
Yeah.
There are two things here.
Uh-huh.
One, one,
Yeah.
I believe it is now long overdue. Youths have been informed that they are leaders of tomorrow, and this has never
Get you.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
That is one motivation. They want to be leaders now because they have seen those ones who are there are failing.
Uh-huh.
Secondly, unemployment. Thousands of youths are educated currently. They know law. They know. They are aware of so many things, especially in terms of information or IT, technology, and so on. It's not like
Uh-huh.
those days when we were in darkness. You could not actually understand what's going on the world in the world.
Yeah.
I am quite aware that thousands of youths are aware that what is happening in Sri Lanka and what has made the president to succumb
Yeah.
to the pressure of the sovereignty of the people of Sri Lanka can as well happen in Kenya, and youth are actually aware of that because this is our country, this is our land.
Yeah.
Our forefathers fought for it, and we must be ready to safeguard it. So, what is happening is in order.
Mhm.
The Gen Z need just to be protected. They need to save their land from any misappropriations, from any unaccountability, from any responsibility. And that is actually the zeal.
Uh-huh. I get you.
Yeah. Uh, these youths are lacking jobs. They are just now being creative with some things that are actually just by a coincidence, like TikToks and so on. And you are even going further to frustrate them through those creativity and so on. So they feel like they are pushed too much.
Mm-hmm.
That is in order, my colleague. I think that is in order. I just pray that the people in government listens to them, listens to the voice of people, and understands that the Constitution gives Kenyan citizens the power to decide the, the way Kenya should actually go, not a few people to decide. That is my take.
I get you. That is your take, and no, people have been saying that. You see, there is no way youth can just get on the street without somebody behind them. Do you think there is somebody who is maybe financing or maybe telling them that no, you have to do this, you have to do this? It has always been a norm that youths are always used. Like youths are always the tools that are used by maybe people who are well off and such kind of things.
I don't think so.
Somebody
What I can just say is that
yeah,
currently the youths
yeah,
are more informed, and
uh-huh,
that only gives them the courage and the ability to do what is right.
okay.
There is
And
nobody,
again,
there is no one. I don't think if there is anyone that is behind. Hello?
I get you. You don't think there's
Yeah,
anyone
I'm
that is
saying.
behind it. When you look, yeah,
Oh, the motivation is too high. The motivation is too high. I was in
yeah,
town. I was in town in the CBD, and you could just listen to a group of 3 to 4 youths. Some saying, "Let us go this particular area. Let us go this particular area." They are organizing themselves. Nobody is organizing them, and they are doing it in a very professional way. So I don't think if there is anybody funding them. If that is maybe the case, then it's not my take. It is just a zeal for their country because you can even see some of these youths are actually sharing water with some soldiers. They cannot even buy a bottle of water of 25 shillings. They cannot. They are just in the street, but they cannot afford even 25 shillings to buy water. And you can even see the soldier sharing water to quench their suffering of the tear gas. You see, so if they are being funded, why can they afford to buy even a bottle of water? Eh? I think you understand me.
I understand you well. If they are being funded, then it means they should also be able to afford maybe things like water that they are using.
Yes,
I can see the
yes.
comment section there. Somebody anonymous is saying that youths are on their own, and this one brings me to this question that keeps on coming. Does it mean that Kenyans, specifically maybe the youths and the younger generation, have lost hope in the political class, that they feel that it is now the right time that they take the mantle on their own and maybe do things on their own way? It has never been like that. What normally happens is, like, today you say you want to become a member of parliament, you will always have youths behind you. They will always give you the protection, shout, and maybe do all kind of manner of things to scare away your opponent and such kind of things. But when you see them now not going to Mwesh and saying, Mwesh, tafadhali tunaomba utupatie gari tufike pale maandamano, ama Mwesh kuwatuma, they've decided to send themselves. Have they lost hope in the political class?
Absolutely.
Mhm. So people are now on their own. You can see somebody say the youth are tired, youth on their own. So youths are now decide that they're on their own. And maybe a question that Kenyans will be asking: do you think this one is going to reflect? Maybe we are going to have elections, the next general election, or maybe shall we have an election in the maybe near future? Will this kind of anger be reflected in how people are going to vote? Are we going to see a larger number of youths getting out to vote, something that has not been happening? And are we going to see youths making maybe some candid decisions when it comes to voting, and voting on in people that maybe they feel are going to articulate their issues, rather than voting people who maybe given them some money, or maybe people who've rode on some slogans and such kind of things?
Yes, I'm happy that this is happening at the right time, and it is actually a motivation to the youth. It's a motivation to the youth, those who have actually never been concerned about registering as voters. I want to believe that come 2027 or during the electioneer time, we shall see a
Yeah.
very big number, of youth who will be ready to vote, who will be ready to vie for elections and so on, for posts and so on. So it's a good motivation. It's a good motivation. We should actually big them up and on the right course. What we need just to do as the people who are a little bit past Gen Z uh, is actually to guide them, just to guide them to do the right thing in a professional way, in the manner that they have been guided, even in their classes and so on. Because you find out that most of these ladies that are actually in the street, most of them, a good number of them, if you can see those ones that are actually in the forefront, are law students. You see, these are students that have actually maybe pursued law. They know the rights of Kenyans. They know their rights. They know what is supposed to be done in the right manner and at the right time. So I see it as a motivation, and this will actually bring uh, a big change in the way people are going to vote come election year time.
I think that would really be interesting if these kind of demonstrations maybe will translate to how people vote, because it has never been there. People have always said that youths don't vote, and maybe when you want to contest for any political seat, they will always tell you that, you see what is happening. Youths will not vote. Look for women and such kind of things. Youths will only be used during campaigns and such kind of things, but they aren't going to vote. So we do hope that this one is going to uh, also lead to what is called the ballot revolution. Of course, if you look at the newspapers and things that are trending, that is what is happening across the entire country. And people will say that most of the revolutions that have always been successful has always been led by youths, because they're the ones who are more energetic and have the tactics. So it's right that right now youths are leading the demonstrations, and even the members of parliament, the elected leaders, right now they fear. Youths have sent some communication. They've communicated and told them that, you see, we are not just being used. Initially, whenever you are maybe an MP, you wanted another term, you will think of, maybe I'll get some 50 youths and do this and do this, then they'll follow your way, they'll not question. But it's been shocking to these elected leaders how the youths are even calling them and asking the right questions, something that has not been happening at this kind of awakening. And people say it is because of the social media. Of course, people have been seeing what is happening in the Western African countries. You see some young leaders uprising and they're really fitting in this position. You started by saying that youths have always been promised that they're the leaders of tomorrow, but you seem they've realized that this tomorrow uh, is not coming. So maybe do you think that okay, the government is going maybe to give in to this pressure and maybe change the way they're doing things, or just as usual they are going to ignore? We've had demonstrations in this country from 207. We've had demonstrations at least each and every election year. Even last year there were demonstrations on that, and after the demonstrations we are told that maybe the president or the person in power will go and look for a specific person and tell him or her that you see, okay, stop these demonstrations and that kind of thing, and things get back to normal. So if you compare this kind of demonstration and the ones that have always been held by the opposition, which one do you think is maybe going to give government some pressure?
This demonstration that is attributed by the Gen Z is in fact giving the government of the day much pressure. I can say it is doing better 80% than out compared to other demonstrations that we have ever had, because this is based on facts. This one is based on facts, not factuals. That is one. And your question should just be answered by the look at the things, especially what has happened to the bill itself. When the youths decided that this bill must not pass, and we are going to demonstrate over it, quickly they started making a lot of amendments about the bill. And you've not actually seen any leader being called from the youth side to sit with the government and negotiate on what is to be expunged from the bill. So you can actually feel the pressure that none of the leader of the youth that has been called that let us sit and discuss about this, they are removing those things by themselves. That by itself is a pressure. And
Yes.
and
Yeah.
going forward, going forward, we can actually see a very harmonized bill. Of course, what I would like each and every Kenyan to understand is that every financial year, for a budget to be effected, there is a financial budget that is actually law that is actually enacted to facilitate or to facilitate the budget. There are
Yeah.
few things that are actually looked into, and these few things
Yeah.
always comes with gains and losses. We need to understand that.
Okay.
So as we fight for this particular bill, or finance bill of 2024, to actually be looked into, we need also to understand that every year there is a financial bill that is actually looked into for the functionality of any government or a government. And you cannot actually also just be a loggerhead and petition the government and say, or petition the court and say that we need the entire bill to be overhauled. No, no, we need to be quite considerate, because the government need, the nation need to get moving. We do not need to take a nation to a hostage, because this is what happens every year. If there are things that are quite bad and detrimental to the Kenyans, then those things need to be looked into. They need to be expunged from the bill for the benefit of the future generation. And we move on, because we don't want to sabotage what has been what we call our nation or the government just because of what normally happens. We all understand that every year there is a passing of this particular bill, a finance bill that enables the budgeting and so on and so on. So what we feel that is not actually quite good for this bill is what we should agitate for and be expunged away, however much it is, and the government to be quite considerate on expenditures. Me that we are actually having a budget of trillions, and much of this money is going for renovation of offices, and reclamation of your wife's your wife's houses and so on and so on. No, 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 no. We need to actually put priorities in everything as far as governance is concerned. That is my take.
I get you, and that is loud and clear. I did engage somebody who told me when you look at the kind of protest that we're having and the one that was staged by Azimio, there is a difference. And it would be easy for the government to control and maybe to regulate the Azimio or the opposition organized protest. In that kind of protest there is a specific leader who maybe calls for the protest, and this leader have got control of people who are demonstrating. So if for example it is Kalonzo Raila, you just go and call Raila and tell Raila, okay, this is what we are going to do now, tell your people to stop protesting. A good example, when Kenyans were protesting last year, that was 2023, the protests were just called off just by Raila saying it is called off, people obey. And they said when you look at this, that has not been sanctioned by any politician or any leader, it's hard for the government to control it because there's nobody who will come and say that, okay, we are calling off the protest because Kenyans are taking themselves there and they are the ones who can restrain for it. So it's really hard to control it, and it's also really hard to maybe, it is easy when you're having a central a place where people, maybe central power that is centralized, you just call one person, like, this is the leader of this organization, okay, what do you want, we do this, we do this, like you can make deals. But it is hard to make deals with these youth or with Kenyans who are going on the streets. Do you agree with that? And do you think that is why this kind of uh, maybe protest is going to be sustainable, simply because there's nobody who can be manipulated to come and call it off?
That is not that's a good question. That's a good question. Throughout the country, I want to believe that you've been watching what happened in Eldoret. You've been watching what has happened in Central. You watched what happened in the CBD. You've watched what happened yesterday in Kwale. And I thank God that in Kwale, when I actually, that is where I come from. I come from Kwale. I thank God when I was inquiring on the process, I was getting good report that even the police are actually quite peaceful and actually protecting the protesters or the demonstrators, and they were actually doing the right thing. There was no any casualties. There was no any tear gassing and so on, as has been experienced in any other part. When you look at the happenings, there is no any leader that has actually spearheaded this. It is just youths that have actually decided that this is the way to go. If there is going to be a leader, you've seen uh, if it is a leader, you've seen Eric Omondi doing it on his own. He alone, without even being accompanied by a number of youths. He has actually done it alone along Parliament Road. And you could say that maybe he is the one doing this, but he was alone. And this gives you a clear picture that youths have decided that this is the direction this country need to head to, and the government need to listen to the youths. It is a long overdue decision or long overdue process, but the people who are actually near number one, who is our dear president, we need to actually advise him accordingly and make sure that we move forward as a country uh, in an amicable way by making sure that he listens to the cry of Kenyans. If he is being pushed by any foreign country, then he should rethink, because this is an independent country, a country that has people that are learned. In fact, Kenyans are quite daring. We do not have any problem with any hiking of things because we are hardworking people. But you don't just push us to the wall just to manipulate us. No. So youths have decided in totality, every part of the country. And what I can say is actually enhancing this is technology. The current technology is making everything quite easy for the youths to make sure that they coordinate very well and make sure that the demonstration and their cry is heard by everybody.
And you did so see, okay, when these protests were there, people expressed their views across the country with demonstrations even in Eldoret. But when it came to voting, there are some MPs or there's some legislators who listened to the people and voted according to what their people wanted. But there are some who still went ahead and voted for this bill. So, what do you take of these kind of members of parliament? Would it mean that they don't depend on the electorates to vote them? That is why they cannot maybe succumb to their wish? Because some of them were saying, oh, my people want this, and because they will also need them in the next 3 years to be re-elected, let me do as per their wish. But there are some who said, no, I'm the leader, and leaders should, as a leader, I need to show leadership. I don't need to follow what people want. I need to show them what they need.
That is mediocrity. I can call it mediocrity because every member of parliament is there to represent the public. As much as you are required to be patriotic or loyal to your boss, you are there by the favor and by the virtue of representing the public. You must listen to your people and nobody else. So uh, they have been given some names that I'm hearing they're being called. Previously, there was the issue of the pigs, and now I'm hearing the other baptism of ng'ombe. Na ng'ombe wako mingi. So you must understand that you are in the parliament to represent the people who sent you there. That is what the constitution says. And abide by that. You are people's representative. Listen to the people, the cries of people, and you'll prosper. So for those ones who have voted no, okay, it doesn't mean if you are voting yes or no, you want in your conscience, you as an MP, you want that bill to be taken away in totality. That is what I'm saying. It is quite impossible because in every year, for a budget to work out, there must be that kind of discussion of a finance bill of that particular year, whereby in our time of 80s, if you are 80s, you could actually affirm, or you could actually attest to or agree with me that during the time of budget reading, that particular week was a very, very coveted week. In fact, people were celebrating. It was like a kuku, a holiday, because the budget was coming up with a lot of goodies to Mwananchi, not to particular people. and we were waiting for the budget to be read so that you can actually see this one is favoring Mananchi, this one is favoring Mananchi, this one is favoring Mananchi, and the country was actually doing well. And after the budget, the then president was actually dispatching the team of officials on the ground to make sure that the budget is implemented. But nowadays, the budget is quite good for a few people who have made it in the government, not for Mwananchi. And this is something that our leaders, our MPs need to understand, that going forward, the budget should actually favor mostly Mwananchi, although it will have losses and gains, but the gains should actually be much more to Mwananchi than the losses. That is my take.
Thank you so much. Of course, I do appreciate Chris for having this kind of insightful conversation. Of course, we are proud of the youth for what they are doing, ensuring that they recover and reclaim this country. And many a times they've always been seen as people who can only be used in terms of chaos. They've always been associated with chaos and such kind of things. But it's good that our youths have realized that now they are out for a worthy cause. So to our viewers also, we do appreciate for you having time to watch our programs. And of course, if you've not subscribed to Afrique, ensure that you subscribe to Afrique on YouTube so that you can be part of these kind of conversations. So this was our newspaper review. I know we are going to have a session in the afternoon. We are going to engage some youth from across different counties as we get their views on why they feel that this protest is worthy and why they are going to participate in this protest and maybe what they hope to achieve at the end of the protest. So this might be one of the turning moments in our country. So from this end, I just want to say thank you, and wish you a good weekday and a happy Sabbath to those people who worship on Saturday. Let us meet at 2 p.m. East African time as we are going to continue with this conversation of the Gen Z revolution. Thank you so much, and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes, kijana ya town. I can see your back, huh? Kijana ya town.
Hey, yes. Mambo vipi?
Salama, nimeona kwenye newspaper hapa this page nilikuwa nafungua Gachagua amesema anataka kushikana na Kalonzo ili muweke gema pamoja. Hii inamaanisha nini?
Nani hiyo?
Kalonzo na Gachagua wanataka kuweka gema pamoja.
Sasa I think hii ni ile hadithi za Mazinga Ombwe, zile ambazo Gen Z wataki kusikia na the new generation. We are used to these mergers and useless things that are not going to take us anywhere. We want a paradigm shift. And a paradigm shift means we need new leadership. We don't need sijui Mudavadi sasa ametoka kwa hii tufurahie, sijui Gachagua sasa amekazirika tufurahie. Gachagua is as useless as any other leader today. Let me tell you, the only people we are going to excuse in this crop of leaders today ni watatu ama wawili. We only excuse maybe Babu Owino, Sifuna na Omutata. Hawa watu na wa Mushomba, 4 people. How do they excuse because they have been consistent? Lakini ghasia ingine yote should go home, both opposition and the government. Hawa ni watu ambao wanataka kuja kutuandaa tena, kutuweka kwa makabila. We want to be tribeless, like we have seen the Gen Z's tribeless group. Hatutaki mambo ya kuambiwa sijui Wakikuyu washikane Wajaluo. Hiyo siasa za ujinga zimeisha. Tunataka kiongozi ambaye afikiri mambo ya kwao. Na imaanishi sasa na support wakina Ishongo kwa sababu wanaongea juu ya national. All those should go home now. Wamekula ya kutosha, wameiba ya kutosha, wanatutapikia. Wakina Kalonzo, wakina Gachagua, Raila sasa wa support a young visionary leader. He might not be literally young, kwa sababu kuna watu, the best candidates wakina Matiang'i, they are there. They are very good leaders. Wakina Omtata, they are there. We want people like those ones. Lakini hatutaki hii story za ujinga ambayo tunaambiango hapa. Sijui nani ame defect, earthquake, sijui nini, sijui tsunami. Hizo vitu ziishe sasa. We want a country that has responsive leaders. Na Kalonzo pia hatuna shida naye. We like him. But now I think hata yeye aondokea game. Here wazee wote wako over 60 sasa. I think they have outlived their usefulness. They have outlived their usefulness. Now let us have a young guy, maybe 40, 50. Matiang'i is how old, but I'm thinking Matiang'i combination with Wakina Sifuna should do a better job. They can do a better job so that we do not have a problem. If that is not the case, then Gen Z's watupatie, we can say the seat of the president is vacant kuanzia leo. Na tuandike CV hapo, tuandike CV ambayo ya yule mtu tunataka apply hiyo kazi. Tuseme mtu ambaye hana tamaa ya mashamba, number 1. Number 2, hashiki wanawake wa watu mbele ya watu na kuwa pinch kama mjinga. Tunataka rais ambaye ana decorum. Rais ambaye watu wakiona, hata watoto wanasema baba nikisoma na nguvu naweza kuwa kama ule rais wetu. Si baba aseme mtoto anasema baba ule uliona rais akichuna msichana kwa TV ni mzuri kweli, ni mapenzi ama ni alikuwa anampunish? We do not know, but those are kind of things that we don't want to see on TV as a people of Kenya. So we want a CV that a person who has good background of education, a person who understands policy, a person who is not going to come and tell us lies, but is going to tell us the reality. Yes, and the reality, and a person who is accountable. Na tuseme wa apply. He come 2026 tupatie mtu job. It doesn't matter which tribe he is. It doesn't matter what color he is. It doesn't matter how short or tall he is. That is the kind of a country we want to see. Tumechoka kuona watu ambao wanaongea kama it's us against them. It is me against you. It is Mount Kenya nonsense. Hiyo Mount Kenya kwanza hatutaki kuiongelea tena. They have been in power for more than 3 times. They have been in power since independence. What have we seen change? So Mount Kenya is a farce. It is a lie. We live a lie. Yeah? What we have seen is people enriching themselves, grabbing land that they don't need. So for me, we are now being taught the lesson by Gen Z's. Na Gen Z wanatuambia, let us be tribeless, number 1. Wanatuambia number 2, let us be accountable on public resources. Hatutaki rais anakuja kutupatia hadithi. Hadi sijui alipata ndege rafiki yake mwingine kutoka sijui wapi ati wakamsikia kuna shida ya ndege. Hiyo ni uongo na ujinga na upuzi. Now we are not afraid to tell you lied na hujaokoka, na hiyo yote ilikuwa wizi ya mali ya umma, and we know this as a people. So kwa mimi pale ninaishi na and where I'm seated, I can tell you people are tired na hadithi. Huwezi kutuambia tulipe tax ndio tuwekee stima. Stima gani? Stima ni saa ya milioni 3. Stima ni viatu ya 600,000, 1,600. Stima ni private jet. Nonsense. Alafu mtu anakuja kutuambia hapa vile ameokoka. Bwana asifiwe. Kama huyo ni Mungu ambaye amekubariki na ndiye amekuambia utuambie hivyo, huyo Mungu mimi personally simtaki. I don't like a person who is a hypocrite telling us I'm saved. Which salvation is this? Salvation ambayo inakuongoza kuiba mali ya umma, inakuongoza kuiba mashamba ya umma. Kwani tunasoma Biblia gani bana? Because my Bible says you shall not steal. It is the Bible. Ama hiyo ni gani bana? So brother, sisi bali tuko tumesema tunajiunga na Gen Z. We are going to produce a president that has no Kanu root in him, that has no dynasty in him, whatever you call them, and those useless hustle relatives. We want a president. It doesn't matter who he is, who can make this country better place. Now 2027, if that candidate will be a dog against Ruto, and I'm a qualified, I'll vote for that dog. I'll vote for that dog. Hiyo umbwa ndio nitapigia kura. Kwa hivyo ndugu, watu wamekasirika. We are tired. We are so tired. So tired.
Thank you. I will not have ended the show without listening to you. Now I'm satisfied. We can end it and meet later. Asante sana. Asante sana. Let us meet later.
Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Twaenda mbio, kokote Kenya yaenda mbele. Kokote wa elimu hatutaiacha kamwe, Kenya hatutaiacha kamwe, Kenya hatutaiacha wenzangu. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, nchi yenye upendo, hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Tumeapa sote wananchi wa Kenya kutumikia Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Sitaiacha Kenya nchi yangu, na nikienda ng'ambo nitarudi. Sitadanganya kamwe na wageni, wala sitapotoshwa na wabaya. Sitasaliti Kenya nchi yangu, na majirani wangu nitalinda. Wenzangu, Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu, tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie